What's up, guys? It's Lord Both here with another video, and Squid Game Season 2 has dropped. Now, I haven't seen it yet, but I actually was pretty interested in seeing this. I absolutely love the first season. I'm interested to see how they're actually going to further the story, despite the fact that I think they should have put a more definitive bow and ribbon at the ending of the first season. I didn't think you really needed a second season. I think the first season does a very good job of almost being like an extended episode of something like The Twilight Zone or Black Mirror. You don't need more on this, even though there's some mystery that's still left about the cop and his investigation into everything and etc. But nevertheless, we got a second season of Squid Game. The reviews are out, and we'll say that they are mixed. Here we have from USA Today, Squid Game 2 is still violent, but more disappointing than shocking. Here we have The Hollywood Reporter, Squid Game Season 2 review. Netflix's South Korean smash loses its edge. Here we have from the New York Post, Squid Game Season 2 slammed as viewers declare Netflix series has lost its edge. I didn't wait 2 years for this. Here we have the Daily Mail, Squid Game 2 reviews. Smash hit Netflix series underwhelms critics who claim the latest outing has, quote, lost its edge and is a thorough letdown after fans slammed the overhyped show. And while there are some articles of critics in the mainstream news actually praising this show, the vast majority of articles seem to be like this. They essentially say, hey, the show is alright, but it's not as good as the first season, and it's not as edgy or boundary pushing as the first season either. Now, as far as the ratings go on Rotten Tomatoes, you see here the first season, 74% with the audience, 90% with all critics, top critics 83%, so not that big of a difference when we consider the first season. The second season, as you can see, 63%, so a fair bit less than the first season. Though to be fair, I mean, this season just came out as opposed to the first season, which has had several years of existing, right? Plenty of time for people to go back and rate it. As for critics, you see even less here, 84. That's more like the top critic score of the first season. And the top critic score is only 69%. And you'll notice that there's a lot less critics on this season than was the first season. Now again, that could also be explained by there's a lot of media outlets that either A, don't exist anymore, or downsized departments where they don't have critics to write reviews or do these kinds of things. And that may have happened between the years Squid Game and Squid Game 2 came out in that sort of COVID to post-COVID era. So in all, the feeling of Squid Game Season 2 could probably be best described as good, but not great, and not as good as the first season. What will be really interesting to see is the viewership ratings. How many people are actually watching this? Because we've already saw a dip in the number of critics that actually watched this show and reviewed it. And yeah, you can explain that away a little bit, but the actual viewership, total number of people watching it, that's going to be something completely different. Now, I will say, leading up to the actual release of this season, Squid Game Season 1 had a pretty big uptake in people who viewed it. This comes to us from Variety. Squid Game crosses 330 million viewers and 2.8 billion hours viewed ahead of Season 2 as Netflix sets in-person experience in Seoul. Now, yes, this could be a lot of people being interested in the show now and wanting to see the first season after such a big hit as it was coming out, and now you're getting a second season. It could also be people refreshing on what the show actually was like before the second season comes out, because, to be honest, there's been several years between seasons. It's not like they release these things back to back, which, to be honest, putting so much distance between the two seasons probably is going to hurt this thing in the long run, which links into a whole big debate on production value and other things that have come up in modern society that creates long productions and all that, and really missing the ability to strike when the iron is hot when it comes to television. A big debate and discussion for another time. But in all, to surmise, Season 2 of Squid Game has mixed reviews, and while viewership grew substantially for the first season, maybe in anticipation of the second season, we don't quite know what the viewership numbers are yet for this season. And of course, that will be the big teller whether or not this show actually has long-term success available to it. But those are just my thoughts on all this. If you have your own thoughts, go ahead and leave in the comments. If you liked this video, go and like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, appreciate you watching all of it, and we'll talk to you again later.